Good morning, everyone. How are you this morning? Hopefully, you are doing well. Yeah, I'm sorry I have to reach you again from this Google Hangout on air. For your information, I'm now still quite busy preparing documents for our accreditation or our Prodi accreditation. We are now staying in a hotel out of campus, so I try to reach you through this Google Hangouts on air because I don't want to miss our class. We have missed our classes for several meetings, and I don't want to miss it again. So I try to make a presentation using this Google Hangout on air. Maybe it won't be long. It will take like about 30 minutes and see how it goes. Um, Yeah, I didn't let you know in advance because I know this is too early in the morning. So I just record this video for you so you can go and see this link later anytime you are available. And remember, although this is only an online presentation, we consider this as an official class as well. Okay, everyone. This morning, I'd like to present some, or I'd like to emphasize some topics that we have learned in our previous class. It's related to characteristic of academic writing. Remember that in the first meeting, we discussed a bit, and then I asked you to find out some examples of hedging. Now I would like to present more details about that. All right, let's now share the screen. Please wait. Okay. So this is the structure of presentation for this morning. First, I'd like to review again some characteristics of academic writing, and then I also reviews things related to sentence construction and paragraph development, and see if we still have time to talk about coherence and cohesion issues as well as plagiarism issues. But before that, look at this. How important writing is in our life. Isaac Asimov once said, I write for the same reason I breathe, because if I didn't, I would die. So think about this powerful quotation. I think writing is indeed a very important activity in our life. It happens for everyone. So when we talk about writing, it's not only about academic, of course, but there are things in life that we need to write. Writing is part of communication, and through writing, you can communicate a lot of things. And if you don't write, of course, you can't communicate many things. So that's why writing skill is very important. And it is particularly very important for us as an academic. You as a university student, you have to write a thesis, for example. You have to be able to write, or you have to be able to write in academic convention. So this is a writing three class. So of course, everyone has got writing one and writing two. We have discussed many topics about writing, but as I've mentioned in this writing three, we will specifically discuss more about academic writing. So what is academic writing? Yeah, we have discussed this in this class, but I'd like to emphasize this point again. I think you can look at this slide. Not sure whether the slide is quite clear for you there, but at least you can see that this is part of a journal article. And see, do you think this screenshot represent academic writing? If it is, what do you think the features of academic writing that you can see from this slide? What do you see there? What is this? Do you see this? Name of the person, the year. And can you guess what is this? Yeah, this is of course a reference. So academic writing might consist of some references. And not only one, there are some references here, as you can see. But do you think an academic writing only talk about references? Of course not. Okay, so what are then the feature of academic writing? Here are they. So we have discussed part of this before in our previous short meeting as well. Yeah, there are issues related to complexity, the formality of the language, about the precision, accuracy, structure, objectivity, hedging. Yeah, we have discussed this as well, and responsibility. Let's discuss in detail complexity. Academic writing is supposed to be more complex. It has longer words. So when you write something, never try to simplify things or to simplify your sentence. Try to write a complex sentence and try to write a complex idea as well, of course. And normally it has longer words. So you can't just say, for example, in your academic writing, she is going to school, for example. It's too simple, right? But you need to remember, although the academic writing normally has longer words, it's more complex in terms of ideas, but never try to sound clever. Still, you need to remember that you only write what you understand and never write thing that you never understand. Although it looks good, it looks cool because of jargons or something, but never write something that you don't understand. Because if you write something that you don't understand, you trap yourself. If you, let's say, if your writing is read by somebody, or maybe if you present your writing in front of examiners, for example, it's gonna be dangerous for you. Maybe the examiners will ask you about that and you don't understand. So it's of course it's a disaster. So never sound to be clever. And in terms of language, the language of academic writing should be formal. So never use slang language, for example, in your academic writing. If you write your thesis, it should be a formal language in your thesis. If you write an essay, it should be a formal language. If you write other kinds of academic writing, let's say writing in a journal article, the language should be formal. See, for example, this one. So instead of saying something like this backup, you can change the word backup to be this supports. So backup sounds to be informal and support sound to be formal. The meaning is the same, but the choice of language is different. And support is supposed to be used in academic writing. And in the context of the formal language that we use in academic writing, also remember never use shortened verbs form or negatives such as I am, I don't, she can't, etc. Okay. And the next one is about accuracy. Writing has to be accurate. You might use some technical language in your academic writing, in your discipline, or even jargon, but you have to make sure that the language or the technical term that you use should be valid, should be accurate. Never use wrong terms. Okay? And the next one, it relates to structure. I think we have discussed this in writing an essay. And it is the same case in when you write academic writing, the academic writing requires a precise, clear structure, so the reader can follow the argument as clearly as possible. And of course, generally speaking, the structure starts from introduction, followed by paragraph, and conclusion at the end. And of course, when you write an academic writing like a thesis has its own structure. You need to follow the structure of a thesis. There are some chapters in a thesis. Chapter one normally is about introduction, and within the introduction itself, there are some subsections. You have to follow the structure. And when you write a journal article, for example, another example, it has also a specific structure. So you need to be familiar first with the structure of the journal, and after you are familiar, you follow the structure. But normally, again, the structure would start from introduction, and there are some paragraph related to the body of the article, and followed by a conclusion. Okay. And the next issue in academic writing is about objectivity. When you write an academic writing, remember, you have to be objective. So therefore, you need to remind yourself that try not to use your personal opinion in academic writing. So you have to be objective. But I'm not saying that you can't you can totally say your personal opinion. You can, of course, but your personal opinion should be backed up or should be supported by some more convincing evidence, like quoting somebody else or like backing up by some data to make your personal judgment of something become more objective. So in this context, as we have discussed in the previous meeting, in some context of academic world, like what is usually happening in Indonesia, many lecturers tend not to use I when they write an academic journal article. So rather than saying I, they would try to change the word or to change the sentence into passive voice. So instead of saying I collected data, you can change to be the data were collected, blah blah blah. So it sounds more formal. It sounds more objective. And next is about hedging. Remember, yeah, everyone, we have discussed this. What is hedging? Is to remember, hedging is our effort to qualify our judgment of something. In academic writing, of course, sometimes you have to make decisions about your stance on a particular subject, and you have to qualify your claim. You have to qualify your judgment, and you have to qualify your stance. And be careful not to make a strong claim, such as this. This proves, this sounds too strong. Instead, you need to use phrases such as, it could be suggested that. Can you get the feeling, the difference of these two statements? This proves, and it could be suggested. Which one is wiser, do you think? Of course, it sounds wiser, the second expression. Because if you say this proves, it's like 100% that you are really sure about the truth of your claim. Remember, an academic should be wise. When, yeah, you, of course, you need to believe on what you are saying, but you have to provide like possibility that your claim, that um your claim of something could be wrong. So that's why you need to put some hedging there. And in the context of using hedging, using modal auxiliaries such as may, might, should, or other adverb like potential or perhaps, possibly, likely, are useful to be used by an academic writer as hedging. And I suggest you to go to this link, Pressbing Manchester, UK. This link is very useful for you to see some more specific examples of using hedging in academic writing. So you can just simply click this link later and you can see a lot of examples of using hedging in academic writing. All right, I can just show you the link straight away from here. Please wait. Here it is. Okay. Okay. Now I will go to the link. I will stop sharing this slide first, and I'll screen share the link to the Pressbing UK. Please wait. Okay. Okay, here it is. Okay, look at this website. So I suggest you to look at this link and see. Uh, this is Academic Press Bank. When you write later, you're writing when you write your thesis, for example, you need you need some phrases to express, to be cautious, to be critical, or to classify and list things, to compare and contrast, or to define a term, to describe trends, to describe quantity, explain causality, giving example, and so on and so forth. And when you click this, it gives you a lot of examples how some expressions that are useful for you to use in your academic writing. For example, in defining terms, for example, look at this. Okay, sometimes you have to define things in your writing, right? So these are some example you can use. For example, introductory phrases. Okay, when you introduce phrases, you can use these phrases like the term X was first used by, or the term X can be tracked back to blah 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 blah. Or when you want to indicate some definitions of something, like the definition of X has evolved, or there are multiple definitions, several definitions of X have been proposed, blah 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 blah. Because sometimes definition can vary from one author to another author, right? So these are expressions you can use. Or other things like when you want to comment on a definition, you can use this one. The definition includes, the definition allows for, the definitions highlights the blah blah blah, or the following definition is intended to, or the following definition is too simplistic, or the following definition is useful because blah blah blah. So there are some phrases you can use. Okay, and being cautious, this is related to hedging. So this is when you explain something, you need to be cautious of your explanation. That, yeah, you of course you need to believe of your own explanation, but you are aware that the explanation could be challenged, could be wrong. All right. So these are some phrases you can use. And this is what we call hedging. This frequent storm may be due to climate change, or could be due to climate change, might be due to climate change, or these frequent storms are almost certainly due to climate change. Look how wise we are as a writer when we say this. Okay, it's going to be different in a sense of, in it's going to be different. You can get the feel when you change this. These frequent storms are due to climate change, for example. When you say are due to, that is 100%, while in fact you might be wrong. But when you say could be, might be, or almost certainly, you are saving yourself. So that is the function of hedging. And these are other examples. It may be, or it is likely, it could be, blah, 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 blah. So hedging helps you to be cautious of your own judgment or a claim of something. All right, everyone. So again, come back to this slide. And what I want you later, as a follow-up of this presentation, I want you to find some examples of hedging. I remember